The vast ocean of white, barren land stretches to as far as the eye can see. Not even the tiniest sapling grows from its infertile womb. Where nature does not splash color on its bleak canvas. Where silent echoes are heard in whispers for miles, and where the soil does not smell of the rain. The land where each step will stir your soul, and which, if it engulfs, shall melt your very being. On this dry, arid and quiet land is scattered a splash of vibrant colors, defined by the handwork of Kutch embroidery, which is unmatched in every sense, which has dotted this white desert in exotic hues like those of the Rangoli, which is peppered with innumerable colors so akin to this handicraft, imprisoned in silent silk and cotton tone, complete in the hands of those who've been weaving this craft for years. The fine, colorful threads of the Kutch embroidery seem to bind the sandy soul of the blank, colorful canvas of the vast Kutch desert in its very fiber. Every color seems to paint the dry land in its own diverse hues. And this exquisite gift comes from the women of this land.
It's been a great privilege to be in Kutch and to watch the women, especially to watch women working together as small groups. There's an intimacy and there's a connectivity of women wearing wonderful colours and creating magic with their own skills. And it feels very meditative. It feels like a very focused thing to do that's connecting people together, connecting women together. And the stitches just seem to be either big or little, but the colours that are used just take my breath away. They're just so deep and rich, and the use of colour seems very natural. In the West, I teach about colour and how to put colours together, but these women here know about colour. They feel it in their very blood. And to watch them is a great privilege. They're connected, they have a connection to each other. They seem to have a connection to their stitches. They seem to have a connection to their history, to their past, to the parampara. They seem to have a connection to something inside themselves. When I watch, it feels like they're connecting to something inside themselves. And I think, but I don't know, it feels to me like they connect to something beyond themselves.
So that the art continues to breathe and survive amidst strong, scorching winds. So that no sandstorm can erase the art from the confines of this beautiful land. In the sandy terrain of Gujrat, this craft is said to have been brought by the nomadic tribes a few centuries ago. Even today, this craft is an important part of the life of the tribal community and is popular among them. History tells us that Kutch's Kadai Kati animal breeders brought this craft here. They started making a variety of excellent sewing samples. They would present in beautiful designs and different motifs and patterns to their customers. It is also said that about 300 years ago, this workmanship was taught by a Muslim traveler in the Sindh province to the cobbler community. The tradition of the craft began to gain precedence. The Sindh influence hence is clearly visible in Kutch's embroidery in the form of suf, kharik, bako, rabari, garasiya jat, and mutwa styles. There are also many legends related to the Kutch embroidery, which come from the times of the Ramayana and Krishna. These handicrafts, over a period of time, became a medium of business for the women of Kutch, not only to meet their need of clothing and dressing themselves up, but also for their livelihood in a land that was defying extreme weather conditions and a difficult living environment. The art began to be seen as generational, where every mother taught the thread and needle magic stitches to her daughter. It later became a means of earning money. During the festive time, when goddesses and deities were to be decorated in elaborately and heavily embroidered attires during the celebrations. The 16 types of different embroidery styles in Kutch are related to each community here. Every community has its own style, a different way to maneuver the stitch, and one can recognize the community by the form of embroidery that each undertakes. The women of the Rabadi community of Banjaras are known for the embroidery with silk threads. They also use small pieces of mirror. In the embroidery pattern, which lend a whole new dimension to this art. These pieces of different sizes began to be in so much use that a town named Kaparvanj came to be known for their mass production. The women of the Rabadi community embroider clothes, bags, home decoration, accessories, and many wonderful things to decorate animals. The embroidery brings to light important events, traditions, culture, as well as the everyday life. Unmarried girls traditionally make and embroider blouses, skirts, curtains, wall hangings, pillows, purses, kothalu, bags that are a part of a girl's dowry, and married women make children's clothing and baby cradle cloth.
मेरा नाम भाभी बेन रबारी है। मैं कच्छ में अंजार तालुका के भादरी गांव की रहने वाली हूँ। मैं और ढेबरिया रबारी कम्युनिटी की एक महिला ही हूँ और हम लोग ढेबरिया रबारी काम करते हैं और हम 50-60 महिलाएं साथ मिलकर काम करती है। और मैं बचपन से ये काम कर रही हूँ, लेकिन मैं बचपन से अभी तक दूसरों का काम करती रही। ये कोई संस्था का, कोई प्राइवेट का, सबका काम करती रही और 3 साल से मैं खुद का काम कर रही हूँ। और मेरे साथ 50-60 महिलाएं साथ काम कर रही है और मेरे को ये काम तो बचपन से आता था, लेकिन मार्केटिंग का पता नहीं था। और मेरे मन में ये भी एक काम शुरू किया, तब मेरे मन में एक डर भी था कि मेरे को काम तो सब आता है लेकिन मार्केटिंग का पता नहीं है। इसलिए मैंने एक भाई का कांटेक्ट किया, उसको बोला कि मेरे को ये काम करना है, आप मेरे को मदद करोगे। लेकिन उन्होंने बताया कि आपको करना है तो करो, हम लोग मदद करेंगे। मदद में हमको क्या है, बाद में उन्होंने हमको मदद सिखाया और मैं जब मार्केट का थोड़ा सा सीखी तब मेरे को पता चला कि मार्केट में खाली जाना महत्व नहीं, उसमें वेबसाइट का ज़रूरी है।
अंगूठा के रूज और ऊप से
So the stitches seem like they're saying things that are multidimensional, and that's what you pick up when you pick a piece of the fabric up. We were looking at textiles yesterday that were very ancient, and we were watching them and looking at them and feeling them, and to feel the women who are probably long passed away leaving their mark on this cloth, I found very emotional, found very touching.
I've been working with artisans since 1970, and since 2005 I've been running a design school for traditional artisans of Kutch. And what I've found is the creativity of textile artisans is even much more than I ever imagined. If given just a little bit of input, each artisan will come up with his or her own rendition of tradition, and this is a kind of an acceleration of a process that was already there. Traditions always evolve, and they are always contemporary. But when artisans understand a bit about design, and particularly about contemporary markets, they're more than capable of innovating appropriately, and they can make really wonderful contemporary works of art.
So the first community is the Ahir community, and they share the embroidery with the Meghalaya Gujrats. The second community that we are looking at is the Rabari community. Rabari have a lot of different subgroups. We are primarily focusing on the Debariyas and the Wagadiyas in Kutch because a larger population is there of these two subgroups. The third is again a group, it's the Sodhas and Jadejas. They've always intermarried within each other, so the origin of who the embroidery belongs to, we don't really know. Even they are not very clear. So Sodhas and Jadejas, both the communities share one embroidery. Then we have the Meghalaya Marus, who have come in 1971 from Pakistan during the Indo-Pak War. They came from Sindh. They migrated here and they lived as refugees from, I think, 71 to 1978. Their embroidery that became very famous here is the Suf embroidery, the Suf and the Kharek embroidery. Then we have the Mochi community. They are the ones who do Ari embroidery, and Mochi community is the only community which has always practiced embroidery commercially, and it used to earlier be done by men. So there is no cultural identity to the Mochi embroidery that exists in Kutch.
The complex but fine work is done by Muslim pastoral people from 11 villages, using several intricate patterns of stitches, expensive silk fabrics, metallic threads and mirrors. Jat Karasya and Jat Fakrani are done by two Jat communities in which small size mirrors are used with cross stitch. The Kambira and the Khadi Teba style of embroideries used chiefly on quilts is the speciality of the Harijan community who live along the bonny grasslands which lies at the border of the Rann. To bring innovation, the artisans are inspired to experiment with new designs and clothing. But they firmly retain the traditional ethos of their field and their art. No machine can create what the hands of these hard-working women do, weaving labor and love into threads that are an integral part of their lives. And it is this that lends the art an immortality, a forever mark.
भला भाणे जड़ा सरोवर जाऊं त्यां ढोले रमूं भला भाणे जड़ा सरोवर जाऊं त्यां ढोले रमूं भला भाणे जड़ा सरोवर जाऊं त्यां ढोले तांबायू ढोल रूड़ा ध्रुगते